as today has just got a couple of hours of sunshine, and as the weather's starting to get a little bit wintry and cold, I'm going to do a little bit of a cleanup on the headlights here on my wife's Mini. Now, we've got the MIT due December. The headlights are actually not too bad. They're a bit foggy, but then there's nothing really wrong with them. Beam pattern's all good. You can see well enough. But as night's coming in, if you're using the headlights more, it's worth just giving them a bit of restoration. Now, I did really well with this on the Mazda, so I thought I'd make it into a bit of a longer video so you can see what I'm using, how it all works, roughly how long it all takes. And for that, I've got a little DIY headlight restoration kit off of Amazon. 17 quid, I think it costs in the end. Now, this actually includes everything you need in the box to do the job, with the exception of the drill. You could do it manually by hand if you want, but I think realistically it's just easier with a drill. So it's got the sanding discs, the polish disc, the sponge disc, the paste, UV protection liquid, which is what you put on afterwards to make sure it doesn't get too faded, and more importantly, things like the masking tape and the adapter to go on the drill. So the first job is to actually mask off the area I'm working in, and I'm going to do that with the little masking tape that it's supplied with. That's that side taped up and that side taped up. There's enough space for me to get underneath here with the drill and the head to make sure everything's all right. So now what we need is the rest of the steps. For that, in this magic box, is what I need is that end. That's still rubbish. What's quite nice is there's actually plenty of this to do. A lot more than just the two lights I have here. I think if you've got larger lights, it's probably quite useful. It's my UV paste with some sanding pads. Let's put the UV protective back in. And the polishing. There's actually an instruction manual. Now the instructions are really simple. It does just say, step 1, sand. Use the 3 different grits. Step 2, polish. And step 3, protect. So I'm going to start off with the sanding. For that, they give you a little adapter disc here, which screws there, and you can put on any one of these kind of sanding discs. Now, I'm going to start off with 800, and then we go through to 1200, and then 2000. Now, I don't think I need much on the 800 because there's not too much wrong, but I've got 2 800s, 2 1200s, and 2 2000s. So that's 1 for each side. And that's pretty much it. It shouldn't be too long a process. I believe it took me about an hour last time to do the Mazda. Now, one thing to be wary of is to not have it on the hammer setting or to use an impact, because it will then force. All we're trying to do is rotate. If you've got a polishing device, I imagine the polisher will be much better, but I just have the drill. So I believe I just need a little bit of water to wet it, and then we're good. Okay, I've got my little water spray. Give this a little spray down, and off we go. Now I'm starting off slow to control the speed of the drill, because if I go too fast it can skip. Right, so I'm going to carry on sanding like that, but as you see it's just slow motions with the drill, and I'll keep doing that until I work my way through. And I'll probably drop you back in when I get the next stage. So this is what it looks like after sanding with all 3 sanding grits going up through to 2000. You can see it's milky. Now we take a cloth, and it's just any cloth will do for right now, and we give this a wipe just to kind of see how it's come off. And you'll see it still looks very, very milky, and this is half due to the actual grinding of the paste itself. You can see I've managed to splatter it around the car as well. So don't be afraid after this point if it's still looking a bit milky. That's to be expected. That's how I saw it the first time, and I was somewhat disappointed. The next stage after this is to actually use the polishing head. So that's what we're going to set up now. So the polishing head is the wool buff thing here and this polishing paste. Now, what we've done with the sanding is removing the top layer of yellowness. So it doesn't look too bad once you give it a good clean, but what we want to do is now is polish. So I've given it then spray and a wipe, and I'm going to put some polishing paste onto the polishing pad and then give everything a polish. So the first thing, let's get this out of the way. Give that a little mist. Grab a little cloth. And we'll give this a good wipe to get off as much of the kind of grit and plastic as possible. And you'll see, if you compare the two, it's slightly better. And it will only look slightly better for a little while until we finish the polishing paste and then the restoration headlight. My tape has come off, which is rather annoying. So let's see if we can stuff it in there in the wind. Right. So polishing compound actually needs to be applied in a particular manner, believe it or not. And what the general suggestion is, you take the head, you apply the polishing paste to the head, and then dab this and smear it around the headlight. That way you've got a good even coverage. Then after that, it's the same as with the grinder. Sorry, just dropping things on the floor. And say, just same as before with the sanding, not the grinder. You just sit here with the drill on a relatively slow speed and just keep going. And I'm going to keep doing that for a little while. So, see you in a bit. Alright, so this is the stage after the polish. It's about 5-10 minutes worth of work to do the polish, but you can see it's actually come up pretty well. What you can also see is the areas that I've missed with the sander, where I need to put a bit more work in next time. So you can see dust around this bottom edge is a little bit cloudier than in the center where I spent most of my time working, which is the reason I've actually done the passenger side first. The passenger side isn't as important when you're driving as the driver's side, because that's where it projects a lot of the light. So on that side, I'm going to put a bit more effort in. Final stage is this UV protective liquid it comes with. All you have to do here is remove all this plastic, so we'll do that in a second. You pour this UV liquid onto the sponge and you cover the entire light. It's important you don't miss this step, because this is where the light starts fading. If you just walk away now, what will happen is in a few months, a few weeks, the sunlight will actually cause it to fade and go back worse than it was before. With this, it'll keep it looking cleaner longer, so you won't have to do this again. So what I'll do now is I'll apply this quickly and show you the difference. And this takes a little while to dry. When I say a little while, what you want to do is make sure that you do this not in direct sunlight, because if you do this in direct sunlight, apparently there's some chemical reaction that goes badly, but you want to do it in a warm, dry environment. So middle of winter, but it's a dry day, the sun's out, it's going to be fine for a little while. And that's it. What I'll do now is I'll do the other side. I'll quickly show you the before so you can see the split between the two. And so I'll come back and I'll show you the two things finally done. So this is the after on the passenger side. You can see where I've done the work. Then we come across, you can see it's a bit different on the driver's side there, still very quite yellow, but very, very nice and clear there. Again, not perfect. You can see the lower edge isn't ideal, but this will be quite nice for a while. All right, so that's both lights done now. This wasn't really that bad. We're talking 20 quid. I think I've been out here for about an hour, half an hour or so on each light. There's a couple of things I've learnt. First of which is with this covering, I don't really think it's that useful. Because of it being quite taut and flapping, I missed a lot of this lower edge around here. This side, to avoid that, I just basically peeled it back to just using the tape to protect the chrome. And I think realistically, you don't need this. A bit of good masking tape to mask off the area and just clean up the splatter as soon as it gets made. The actual benefit of having the, I don't know what you call this, covering vinyl plastic to cover up so you don't have to clean up as much. It's not really worth it. Tape is a better option. So that's one thing I've learnt. The other thing I'd like to say is, well, I love my drill and it's really handy around the house being battery operated. It's bloody heavy when you're holding it for a long period, kind of working it around the light. The other issue is because my drill's quite old and the batteries are quite old, I had to go through 2 full batteries and a half charge on a third. Luckily I have 2 batteries, so I had them both pre-charged, but then I had to put the first one back into charge while I used the second, and it gave me enough charge to finish the job. So if you can, use a power drill. But that's realistically it. I mean, it's 20 quid for the kit. I've got the drill already. It's water in my time, but it has made a visual difference. If nothing else, it's probably worth doing before you sell your car, just so it makes it stand out and pop. It's certainly good for the MOT, so you've got a nice clean light. And this time of year, where the weather's about to turn, so you're using the lights more, every bit of lumens on the road helps. All right, that's it for now. Hopefully I'm going to get back onto my K100 now. I'm still waiting on a few things to turn up, but I'll do a little job on the Mini in the meantime. All right, thanks very much. Cheers.